I was able to stack up 16,290 points for search arc probes, couriers, and assessors during an electromagnetic storm on Dam Battlegrounds. Now there are a few trade secrets for how to maximize your score in this challenge that I will walk you through in just a minute. For your equipment, you don't need to bring in a whole lot, but I do recommend a handful of things. Wolf packs are great for getting yourself out of jail, plus you're going to need them to take out some of the larger arc that are going to block the probes and couriers. You can bring in as many zip lines as you want. I only need 3 for this rotation, and then just an overwhelming amount of adrenaline shots is ideal. Also, the hole cracker with about 3 to 4 stacks of ammo just helps to manage the smaller flying arc once you get into the game. Alright, I normally like to do this trial on Spaceport. It's got a higher score ceiling overall, but it's not in rotation this week, so we'll do it on Dam. So something that a lot of players don't think about when they're doing this trial is that when you load in, there's a lot of other players that are likely doing it with you, especially when the event rotation is so constrained like it is now. You can rely on other players to help you do the breaching. So I'm actually going to go away from the swamp, which has a high volume of the arc probes and couriers, because I'm anticipating that players are going to go there because they want all those points, and they'll do all the breaching for me, so I can just hit it up at the end of the round and not have to do any of the breaching. So hopefully this player is chill. Just keep an eye out and see. I bet they're doing the trial though. Let's see. So there isn't a whole lot of thinking involved with this trial. It's just getting to the pros and the couriers. Friendly. Alright, cool. That's a positive sign. Now let's see if this is breached. Yeah, okay, I think they're doing the trial too. Oh, I think they missed this one. Let's see. Yeah, they're definitely doing it. Okay, so I'm going to let them finish that breach, and I'm going to go grab this other one. You can find these in 2 ways. You can either go to the smoke clouds, which earlier on in the game is pretty reliable, but as probes and couriers get breached, they'll stop emitting the smoke clouds. You're going to want to rely on your map towards the mid and towards the mid game and the end game. So keep in mind that probes will emit that noise that attracts enemies, and then the couriers actually don't. So yeah, he's definitely doing the trial. So I'm going to kind of see where he goes, and then I'm going to try and pick a route that's going to go a different way than him. This will just let me kind of maximize my time on the map, because he's going to go breach a bunch of probes and couriers that I don't need to open later, and I'll do the same for him if he goes back the way that I go. So if Leaper isn't here, I should be able to farm all these. But the tough part about farming these specific probes and couriers is that if Leaper is here when you're doing the probes, it will always aggro to you and becomes a pain to have to deal with. So I'm not hearing him. Not seeing him. This is like the one time that I'm actually like thankful there's spawning problems in this game and Leaper isn't spawning inconsistently. Okay, there's somebody else that's doing the trial too, because that one was opened and the person that I was running with definitely didn't go to that one. So there's another subset over here. I don't know why the hole cracker isn't a one-shot on this niche. There's another subset of couriers and probes right over here that's normally hard to get to because 1, there's all the flyers, and then 2, there's a Leaper that usually aggroes to these. So I'm just going to help this guy out. I want them to stay alive so they can help with breaching all of the probes and couriers. So again, I'm going to let them get that one, and I'm just going to go pull another one. I technically lose a little bit of time running back and forth, but I gain time by not having to do the breaching, so it's in my benefit to help them out. Honestly, I'm pretty lucky right now. There is not a ton of enemies over here that are aggroing to this, and usually it's really hectic. Oh, I saw that. Sentinel turret. That's going to be a problem. Wait for it. There we go. Gotta make sure this guy stays alive and he's in a bad spot. That should help. Live, brother. Oh my god. Hit my shots. The hull cracker is so hit and miss, man. Alright, there we go. Grab this one. Then there was another one over there that I didn't get that he was just breaching. I'm gonna go sweep that one up. And let's see where he goes. I'm gonna bet he goes swamp. Yeah. Yeah, he's rotating out towards swamp, so I don't want to go swamp. So I'm gonna go back this way. Now I do recommend bringing in wolf packs, at least 3, but I always bring in 4 to 5 for this. Most of the time it's just to protect myself from getting caught out by a rocketeer or a vaporizer, but there's a couple of bigger arc, like this bombardier right here, that will guard probes and couriers. So I'm seeing a bunch of smoke over there, which means there's going to be some down probes. So it's going to be in my benefit to just take this bombardier out super quick. Now normally I won't waste a wolf pack on a bombardier, because there's no point. You can just eliminate it with 10 hole cracker shots, but I want to get this done quickly so I don't waste time in the fight, so I'm going to use a wolf pack here. Now I should probably go inside, but this should just happen super quick. It shouldn't matter. Alright, not a ton of the wolf pack just hit the bombardier, so I'm in trouble here. Not in a great spot, at least. Just gotta keep dodging. Oh, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. Oh, don't hit me, don't hit me. Okay, okay. I think I'm good. A couple more shots, he should be down. There it is. Cool, so now with that bombardier out of the way, I can just get these probes over here, which otherwise are going to be tough to get because he's guarding them. Normally there's a couple of couriers over here too, but not seeing them. Dang, dude, a double lightning strike? The game's trying to get me. It's trying to take me out. Yeah, so I haven't used my map yet to try and find these, but I'm going to start having to use it because I'm just following the smoke clouds right now. Now, after these... Oh, by the way, when you find one probe on at least Dam Battlegrounds and Spaceport, they're going to spawn in groups of 3. Now, this is a little bit abstract, so I'm going to have to pull up a map and show you, but essentially, all of the probe spawns are in groups of 3 across the map. So there's essentially sections of probes. So when you're looting in an area, when you find the 3rd probe, like I just found here, you can bail on this specific spot because you know you found all the probes that are going to spawn there. This doesn't function the same with couriers. Those are totally different. This only works for probes. And as far as I know, it's only on Spaceport and Dam Battlegrounds. Oh, I didn't bring in spare meds or a shield. This should be okay. I just got to make sure I don't get struck by lightning a bunch. Alright, some more smoke. So let's take a look at where these other ones are. Yeah, you see the 3 on the map right there? That's the group of 3 for this area. So once I get these 3, I know that I can move on to the next area, and I've gotten everything in this spot. That will save you a ton of time and having to like run around in a space to figure out whether or not you've been able to get all of the probes. Make sure you don't get caught out by that lightning. It will strike as you're trying to breach probes pretty frequently. And it can be very easy to get staggered by a lightning strike and then have some flying arc show up and put you into a risky spot. Plus, this is a significant impact on your healing and shielding materials, so just try and avoid that as best you can. Alright, 10-minute mark in. 4,500 points. In a good spot right now. Doing well. So I do want to go down in front of Control Tower, but with that Vaporizer patrolling, I'm just going to go over towards the forest over here. So see, even these couriers show up on the map. You have to be within, I think it's like 30 or 50 meters, something like that, and then they'll show up as an icon on your map. There might be another one over here, let's see. Yeah, okay. Now from here, I'm going to go over to the actual, like, forest area over there. You can have a good set of probes spawn in that area. Oh my god, do you see that shadow of the Rocketeer? Where the hell is that? Oh, way, way up there, okay. I was bugging there for a second. I thought I was about to get just shot down, dude. Alright, so let's see. I'm not seeing any smoke, so it's possible there's nothing over here, or maybe somebody's already looted them, or at least breached and searched them. Yeah, so I'm just going to run back and see if any icons pop up. I don't want to go too far, because I do have a big rotation to complete before the end of the round. So we'll just run and grab this one that popped up, but not seeing anything else, so we're just going to bail on going back this way. But this is a good sign. That's breached. So if I know that somebody breached that and they didn't go the way that I went, because I had to breach all the probes up towards the control tower, then there is a possibility this player is also doing the trial, and I'm going to be following their path. And this is the key reason why I avoid the major zones at the start of the round, because if I'm right, what this means is I'm no longer going to have to breach a ton of these probes and couriers, and that's going to save me a ton of time and let me farm up even more points. So let's see, is this open? W. Okay, perfect. And this one too? Yeah. Okay, what about on the roof though? There's always probes up on this roof. Or it feels like there is at least. Yeah, see, these are all open, so I'm in a great spot. So my rotation is perfect right now. Now, hopefully the player that I'm following knows where to go from here, which should be down into the Red Lakes. And I can just continue to search these and move on. But look at how much time I get to save just by being the person who searches and not breaching. And the zip line going down. Yep. So more than likely this player is the player that I'm following from that forest. Because if this player was actually going up north towards the control tower, I would have seen them. I would have passed them by now, and I didn't see anybody. So there can be some out here. But let's see. Not looking like it, so I need to go to the Red Lakes here. Yeah, nothing, nothing, nothing. You're going to want to make sure you bring in an overwhelming amount of adrenaline shots, because you're just going to be using it at all times. And especially if you're not the player that's breaching and you're just getting to search, you're going to be burning your stamina out like crazy. But if you actually have to do the breaching, you can regain some of that stamina and you won't need as much. The Red Lake should have a few. Yep, there's two. So look at that. See? All open. This is beautiful. Look at how much time I'm saving. I've already taken like a minute off my time by being able to follow this person. I'm not seeing any more. I still need to go down that way, but sometimes you can get some that spawn up here. Hello, game. Can I climb? Thank you. What the? Okay, so I'm not seeing any icon. I would see it by now if it was here. Put that in my safe pocket just to be safe. Yep, here we go. Here's another courier, and this should be breached. Yes, sir. Alright, I'm in a really, really good spot. This is ideal for me. And this is what I was saying in the beginning of the game, of you don't want to go to the major areas first. Like, everybody else is going to just sprint towards the major areas because it's the most point potential, but that also means they're doing all of that breaching, so... What is this, a zipline train? Don't mind if I do. Don't forget when you're on ziplines, you can use stuff like adrenaline shots. I should have waited until I was towards the end of the zipline train to use it, so I have longer time with the stamina shot or the adrenaline shot, but that's okay. So it doesn't look like there's any probes that are spawning out here. And so, as I was talking earlier about how the probes spawn in groups of 3, or usually spawn in groups of 3. Oh, that turbine's in a bad spot. I need to get out of here before it tries to land and puts out all those mines and I piss it off. I'm not seeing anything. So, since the probes spawn in groups of 3, the way that the game essentially works the RNG is there's like 5 to 10 spawns within that section where the probes can spawn, but then a few of the sections during each round will just not spawn in. So it looks like Red Lakes might have been one of those sections that just didn't spawn probes. And then the forest that I went into earlier is another one of those sections. So if I'm right, the theory is that, not even the theory, but how it works usually on Spaceport is I'm going to have a higher volume or a higher chance of having probes and couriers in the other places that I need to go. So up towards power generation and then down over into the swamp itself. I should see a good volume of probes and a good consistency of being able to stack up more score. So we're at 12 minutes left. 8k points. Doing pretty good. And so think about this. Let's see where I end up landing, but I have 8k points with essentially 10 minutes remaining. The final extract is in the swamp, which... honestly, that was luck. I didn't even look in the beginning to see where it was. And that would have been a bad thing for me if it wasn't actually a swamp. But this actually works out perfect for my rotation. It's the ideal endpoint for me. So there should be a group up here. Yep, there's one. Now there's going to be 2 more. 1 and 2. Yeah, you can see the group of 3 on my map. Alright, nice. So now 9,500 points, 11 minutes remaining. And a really good spot to set a good score here. Thought I saw a 3rd probe on my map. Oh. I don't know if I've ever seen one spawn up here. Alright, so now we need to go hang out at the... or get over to the area where the Bastion's hanging out. This is a spot where you can earn a good amount of points if the probes and the couriers spawn, but you need to take the Bastion out. Because the Bastion will aggro from pretty much anywhere if you try and breach the probes here. So I'm going to need to use at least 1 wolf pack, probably 2, because I don't want to spend time fighting this Bastion. Yep, there it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and just... let's see how much this does. Some full cracker shots. I guess I'm hidden behind that tree. I was expecting it to start beaming me down, but maybe it doesn't see me. Alright, so second wolf pack. I think some of those blew up against the wall. I need to get better at throwing my wolf packs. I just kind of throw them and hope for the best. Yeah, there we go. Alright, nice. So the wolf packs are really just to do that. Get it done super, super quick. And now I can breach these without worrying about aggroing anything. I do want to keep an eye out for that Rocketeer that can control by the power generation. I'm not seeing it though. But that's the other potential danger of breaching these. So now let's see how many are actually over here. I know that there's going to be probes, but do I also get couriers? Not seeing that Rocketeer, so this is ideal. A Shredder? What is a Shredder doing over here? I'm about to take out that Shredder first. Alright, come on. RNG, let's see. Ah, yeah, there we go. There was a cluster. Look at that. That's ideal. So see, taking out that Bastion essentially let me get 5. 3 probes, 2 couriers. That's essential. So with this Rocketeer not being here, I can breach the probes over here if nobody's done it yet and be okay. Man, this run is just absolutely perfect right now. Think about the last time you see me breaching a probe. Besides the 2 that I did on the Bastion. That's been 2 out of what, like 20? This is why you go to the major areas last. Let everybody else do the hard work for you. So there can be spawns up along here, but it's going to be the couriers. And I don't really know how many couriers spawn over here, so we'll just do a sweep. There's like one area where the road forks or splits, where I know that there's some that can spawn. I'm not seeing anything. So we might just go more towards the swamp, because I don't want to waste time. Oh, hello. I was actually just kind of lucky. I didn't even see it on my map. Alright, so we'll just go west a little bit more to where a couple couriers could potentially be. Right over here-ish.
Let's move to that location.
Seven minutes left. Plenty of time to go through swamp, saying that I don't have to breach. Yep, there we go. Okay, cool. I don't want to keep going too far west. There can be some spawns at the Pale Apartments, but with 7 minutes left, I need to get all of the swamp, and the swamp is going to take priority, so I'm going to focus on swamp here. Now, the Hydrodomes can be trouble to try and breach in, because you have the Bastion plus all of those small flying arc. And you can piss off a lot of things by breaching over here. W. Yeah, so see, that person had to fight the Bastion. That one's open. Oh my god, I didn't see it. Okay, so I need to just disengage here. I need that Bastion to de-aggro as fast as possible, otherwise I lose a ton of time. I'm going to lose time here regardless, because I need to get those probes. Oh, there's one behind me. But I can't have that Bastion stay aggroed on me, because I'll lose even more time. So this is the challenge of doing this, is you really just have to be patient when you're losing time, and not make it any worse than it already is. Let's see if the Bastion's still looking for me. No, it's not. Okay.
Let's go to that arc.
So I'm going to mark this just so I can get to it super quick. Ooh. I'm going to leave that. It's not open. And that Bastion will definitely aggro if I try and breach it. So I'm just going to ignore that. We'll lose 1 on that rotation, but that's okay. I'd rather lose one and get my time back than to try and go for that and then waste a couple of minutes. So I still need to go underneath this Rocketeer. So if there's some probes over here at Couriers, or just the probes, I guess, I can't really breach them without aggroing that Rocketeer. In general, at least from what I've seen, is the larger arc enemy, like a Rocketeer or Vaporizer. Oh, my points are in a really good spot, actually. Is they'll aggro to you opening a probe if they're at 75 meters or closer to you. But if they're at that 76 to 80 plus meters, you're usually okay to breach. Now that's not always true for the smaller flying arc. I feel like they aggro from a little bit further away. But I would not be able to breach these with that Rocketeer being right there. So that was a huge W, them already being breached, and that Rocketeer is not aggroed to me. Okay, so I need to go wide left, because I really don't need these problems from the Vaporizer. I have a really good run right now. My points are in a good spot. And I just need that to keep going the other way. So there might be some probes closer to the Hydrodome, but I'm not even going to worry about that, because I don't want those problems. Now if I keep going down this path, I should just run into some. Yeah, there's one. And again, look, somebody's already done the work for me, so I can just continue stacking up my score, moving on to the next. What was that I just completed? That's a new UI prompt. I haven't seen that before. And there's the other two. So that's the 3 probes for this small little area here. So now I need to go more towards the Baron Husk. Wait. Oh. I thought I aggroed the Rocketeer for a second. I was like, there's no way. Looks like it's going towards the extraction. So I got 3 minutes left to do both Baron Husks. And then get to the extraction. I'm in a really good spot, but I do need to avoid all types of aggro. Especially from that Rocketeer. I can't deal with those problems right now. Alright, nice. Yep, a couple of couriers. And they should already be breached, right? Yeah. Alright, so now I need to go back towards the other husk. And this is where I need to rely on my map a lot. It's hard to see in the swamp where the down probes are without the icon on the map. It's just so much visual noise. It's dark out. And if there is no smoke cloud, you really can't see it. Not seeing any spawns, which is a little unlucky, to be honest. There should be another group in this area, or there can be at least. So I got a minute 50. Okay, there's at least a husk. It's 150 meters away. I could maybe go to the Pale Apartments and back, but I'll be honest, I've taken too many risks with my trials and not made it out. So I'm just gonna grab these. Then I'm gonna do a little sweep back, and I'm essentially gonna burn a minute of the time here because I don't want to make that mistake of trying to overextend when I already have a score I'm happy with. So let's just make sure I can get out safe, and if I can pick up any more on the way in, that's ideal. Need to keep an eye out for that Rocketeer too. Speak of the devil. Okay, so I'm not going to wait to tap the button. I probably should, but at 16,000, I am stoked with this score. It's a really good score. I I beat my last score doing this challenge on this map by at least a couple thousand, so I'm happy with that. Wait for it. I got this. Promise. There we go. Surprised that Rocketeer didn't aggro when I hit that button. I kind of expected it to. Oh my god. Hello? Photoelectric cloak? Hello? This is why I always have my cloak. So I'm just gonna wait. I don't want to try and push that button, have the Rocketeer like rocket me and then knock me out. And I'm just gonna use the cloak to make sure I don't take damage and let this close by itself. And if there happens to be a raider out there taking the biggest risk trying to get to the elevator, then this will help them. But it's really a selfish play, to be honest. I just don't want to die and lose these points. Hold this up. Oh, dude, nice. Let's go. There's no way he just made it in. That's crazy. Good for him. Alright, so there's my overall path. Nothing too crazy. It's just all about knowing how to path around other raiders so that you can avoid doing as much breaching as possible. And then the final score. Yeah, 16-2. Let's go. That's big.